Welcome to the 2024 Nusenda Credit Union State Basketball Championships Seeding and Selection Show. Right here on this show, we will release the basketball brackets for all classes. I know the Tularosa boys and girls are out there watching. Volcano Vista RSVP'd. Hobbs is in the house today, waiting to see their matchup. Cliff High School, welcome to the show. The Highland Hornets are having a watch party. Navajo Prep has us dialed up. They're even having a birthday bash today, so happy birthday. Kirtland Central, they let me know they were watching. The Lovington Wildcats are ready for March. Oregon Mountain posted last night that they will be watching today. Hello, Knights. Albuquerque High is excited to see where they land. Magdalena is meeting to watch this show. Those are just some of the teams watching. I know there's a lot of you out there anxiously waiting to see your name come up on the bracket. But before we get to that, we always like to remind everyone how the seeding and selection process works. The seeding process is not the NMAA sitting in a room randomly deciding who should be number one, number two, et cetera, et cetera. It is not that. What it is a process that is all data driven. The following criteria is used to determine a team's seed. We look at finish in regular season district play, Max Prep's rankings, overall record, wins against district champs regardless of class, member school input, that's the coach's input and their rankings, and any head-to-head matchups. The schools are compared to one another with each of those criteria points, and the seeding is determined like one big math problem. It's all based on the numbers and the data. In the event of a tie among those criteria points, head-to-head will be used to break the tie. If there's no head-to-head competition or the head-to-head competition is tied, then Max Prep's strength of schedule will be used to break the tie. There is no input given by NMAA staff. Let me repeat that to everyone. No input by NMAA staff. It's all data-driven based on those criteria points. Did you beat a district champ? Did you have a better record? Were you ranked higher? All of those things. There is no bias for or against any school or team. Now that you understand how it's done, let's get to it. You clicked on this show to see the brackets, right? I know a lot of you have your cameras ready to post your team reaction after your name comes up on the screen, or even take a photo of your bracket, right? We love the enthusiasm. Here, take a photo of me while you're at it. Give you a couple options. Enough of my talking. Let's get to it. Ladies first. We will start with Class 1A. The first number one seed handed out goes to Roy Mascaro. Roy Mascaro ended the season on top in a 62-61 thriller in the final last year. Roy Mascaro heads into this postseason as the top seed in their bracket. They are 23-1 overall. Bloomfield is the only team to beat them this year. They've won 13 in a row. Opening round games will be played at the home of the better seed. So who will Roy Mascaro host this week? Let's take a look at the bracket. The first bracket of the show. A lot of tiebreakers in this one that I will explain. First, the rundown though. Roy Mascaro will take on Animas. Camado is the 8, Corona Vaughn the 9, Magdalena is the 5, and they will take on Tohajli. Fort Sumner House is a 4, and Pine Hill is in as a 13. Logan is the 3. And Alamo Navajo, 14. Jemez Valley is your 6th seed and will host Springer. Melrose, the 7, will meet Dora, the 10. And Cliff earned the number 2 spot and will meet Reserve in the first round. Now, here's your explanation. There was a 3-way tie between Magdalena, Melrose, and Jemez Valley. Magdalena won that 3-way tie, so they earned the 5 seed. And it's been a long time since Magdalena girls hosted a playoff game. Then, when you compare Melrose and Jemez Valley had the advantage in criteria points. But then there was another 3-way tie between Tohajli, Reserve, and Alamo Navajo. Tohajli won that 3-way tie. But now that Tohajli is in, we can look at Pine Hill. Pine Hill beat Reserve and Alamo Navajo. Alamo Navajo beat Reserve in criteria points. So Alamo Navajo is the 14 and Reserve the 15, and they will play at Cliff. Cliff, they're young. They have 3 8th graders, 4 or 5 freshmen, no seniors. Nisa Gutierrez has been their leading scorer.
You know, Roy, again, they're tough. They've kind of been the front runner all year. I don't think anybody can deny that. And I think after that, there's probably I don't know, 6, 7, 8 teams. I think that it's really open for. So I think anybody at this point has a shot. And again, the ball's got to bounce the right way a few times, and a little bit of luck definitely goes in there. But I think it's a big opportunity for several schools this year.
We're actually just trying to enjoy the ride and, go out every game, play the best of our ability, have fun while we're doing it, and just, let the cards fall when they may. I think if you put too much pressure on this time of the year, it can backfire on you. So right now we're just kind of getting after it and having fun as we go.
Moving on to girls Class 2A. The number one team this year is, wait for it, Mesa Vista. Mesa Vista is 24-3 overall. They are riding an 11-game win streak. They only have one loss since the first week of December. Who will they host? Let's look. Capitan is in as the 16 seed. Capitan earned the last spot in this bracket. They had to go into the bracket before Mescalero because of district finish. Laguna Acoma is the 8 and Cuesta the 9. Manal is your 5 seed. They will meet Estancia in the opening round. Tularosa takes the 4 spot and will host Eunice. Pecos is the 3 and will take on Lordsburg. Peñasco is a 6 seed and will match up with Clayton, the 11. Dulce is 7. Defending state champ Texaco is a 10. Tatum is your 2 seed and will host Escalante. Tatum's only 2 losses during the regular season were to Newcomb and Texaco. Sophomore Avery Hennard leads the way on a roster without a lot of size, but they can score.
We've got pretty good team speed. We don't have a lot of height on our team at all, but team speed, and they like to play defense, and that's probably us. Our identity is we like to play defense.
On to girls Class 3A, and for the number 1 seed, look no further than last year's state champ. Tohatchee earned the top honor in 2024. They are 22-6 this season with some battles against Navajo Prep the past couple weeks. Tohatchee is the defending state champ. They return most of the squad from last season. Heading into this postseason, they have that number 1 next to their name.
I stress to my players that that number, is it's meaningful, yes, but when we go into the state tournament, the number really is meaningless. And I say that because we've been a 3 seed when we won back in 2017. We were a 4 seed last year when we won. So, anybody, if you don't play, and you don't do the things you're supposed to do in March, anybody's beatable.
To the bracket, Tohatchee will host Crown Point, the 16 seed. Zuni is the 8 and will host Sandia Prep, the 9. Tucumcari is in as a 5 seed against Ruidoso. Santa Fe Indian School, last year's runner-up, is a 4 seed and will host Newcomb. Navajo Prep is the 3 seed. They will host Socorro, the 14. West Las Vegas is your 6 and will take on Theroux. St. Michael's, you are the 7 and get Cuba, the 10. Robertson is the 2 seed in this bracket, and the Cardinals get Wingate in the opening round. In girls Class 4A, heading into the postseason this year, Kirtland Central is the 1 seed. The Lady Broncos are 25-3. Their only losses are to La Cueva, Farmington, and Gallup. Kirtland Central came up short in the final last season, and head coach Devin Manning says that really hasn't been the focus this year.
We really haven't talked about state or state championship ball game all year. All we talk about is trying to be a little better than we were the day before, and these girls have really embraced that. We don't say we got to win state. We got to get to the state championship ball game. We don't want to put any more pressure than we already have on ourselves, and so I think we just look at it. We're going to take it one game at a time, and we'll see what happens.
Here is your 4A bracket. Lots of tiebreakers in this one. I will go into that in just a moment. Kirtland Central will host Aztec in the opener. Valencia is the 8 seed and Lovington the 9. Portales is a 5 seed. They get Hope Christian the 12. Gallup is 4 and Powake the 13. Artesia is a 3 seed going up against Silver. Albuquerque Academy is the 6 and Deming the 11. Bloomfield is a 7 seed and will host Los Alamos. St. Pius earned the number 2 seed and will host Espanola Valley. Now, here's some explaining. In criteria points, Artesia, Academy, and Gallup were in a three-way tie because in head-to-head criteria, Academy beat Gallup, Gallup beat Artesia, and Artesia beat Academy. Artesia won that three-way tie. So they are the three. Now that Artesia is in, we can look at Portales. We had another three-way tie because Academy beat Gallup, Gallup beat Portales, and Portales beat Academy in criteria. So in that three-way tie, Gallup wins. So they are the four. Now, when you compare Academy and Portales head-to-head criteria, Portales beat Academy. The last girls bracket to announce is Class 5A, and it's no surprise the number one seed goes to a team that's been number one most of the year, the Hobbs Eagles. Hobbs is the defending state champ. In fact, they've reached the final each of the last 6 seasons. La Cueva and Farmington are the only New Mexico schools to beat the Eagles this year, and Hobbs has pounded district opponents this season. Not one senior on the roster, junior Brett Clay is leading the way.
You know, after all these years, I think it's better to be number one than number 10, 11, 12. And even if you're playing well. So I think it always gives your kids that confidence that they can win. And so I think that's a good thing. I will say that I think there's 5 or 6 teams, maybe 7, that could win it this year. I think you saw that all these teams are beating each other. And so we are also aware of that too. We're a little humbled. We got humbled a little bit in that, the Metro tournament. And so we got humbled when we lost to Farmington by 1 point. So yeah, I think it's good for our kids to fight through a loss. I really do.
Let's look at the bracket. Hobbs will host Las Cruces. La Cueva is the 8 seed and Rio Rancho the 9. The 5 seed is Mayfield, who will meet up with Clovis. Volcano Vista has been in the final each of the last 4 years, and they are the 4 seed and will face district opponent Cleveland. That's just the way the seeding stacks up this year. Farmington is your 3 seed. The Lady Scorps will host Los Lunas. Oregon Mountain is the 6 and will take on Carlsbad the 11. El Dorado and sharpshooter Bella Hines is your 7 seed. The Eagles will face Albuquerque High in the opening round. Sandia earned the 2 seed, and they will host Alamogordo this week. There you have it, all the girls' teams seeded and matched up. Now to the boys. We will begin in Class 1A. The top spot in 1A goes to the Magdalena Steers. Magdalena was last year's state runner-up. They've reached the final each of the last 3 years. They are 27-1 overall. Grants is the only team to beat them this season. Magdalena only has 3 losses over the past 4 seasons. That is quite the program. They are currently riding an 18-game win streak. Let's dive into that boys 1A bracket. Magdalena will meet Maxwell in the opening round. Cliff is your 8 and Evangel Christian Oak Grove the 9. Logan is the 5 seed and will host Roy Mascaro. Melrose is the 4 and will meet Mesilla Valley the 13. Des Moines earned a 3 seed and will go up against Elida. Cimarron is the 6 and will host Pine Hill. Legacy Academy is your 7 and Alamo Navajo the 10. Fort Sumner House, the defending state champ, earned the 2 and will host Dora in the opener. Looking at this bracket, Melrose only lost 1 senior last year. Michael Cardenita and Dathan Yuri are the seniors who lead them this year. Fort Sumner House, Melrose, and Logan are all in the same district and have been beating each other up during the regular season.
Hopefully our depth can help separate us a little bit. Going to Albuquerque, sleeping in a hotel room, and then having to play really, really hard back-to-back days. We hope that our bench can help maybe carry us through some of those tough stretches against really good people. And so that's where we hope kind of can sway that. But anybody can beat anybody once you get to Albuquerque. It's really difficult. Last year Clovis Christian made a run as a 13 seed. So it's just, we hope that our depth and our experience at the state tournament in the semifinals can maybe help push us past the semifinals.
I do feel like the top 5 teams, there's a little bit of separation with, Magdalena, the Fort Sumner, Logan, Melrose, and Des Moines. So I really feel like there's a bracket of 5 teams right there. Ourselves, Cimarron, Roy, I would include Quamato, Mesilla Valley. but you know what? Once you get to March, anything can happen in Albuquerque, and the best we can do is prepare and put the best game plan together and try to execute it.
We are now at boys class 2A, and the number one team is 3 letters, ATC, Academy for Technology in the Classics out of Santa Fe. You are the number 1 seed. You were the state runner-up last year, and they say they have some unfinished business. 25-3 this year. Santa Fe, West Mesa, and Navajo Prep are the only teams to beat ATC this season. Who will they play in the first round? Let's look. ATC will take on Clayton. Santa Rosa is in as an 8. They will take on Escalante, the 9. Rehoboth Christian is the 5 seed and will face Mora, the 12. Mesa Vista earned the 4 seed and will go up against Jal. Tularosa is your 3 and will host McCurdy, the 14. Texaco is the 6 and will take on Manal. Defending state champ Pecos is the 7 seed and will host Loving, the 10. The Eunice Cardinals earned a 2 seed and will host Mescalero this week. The Tularosa boys are riding a 9-game win streak. They last won it all in 2012. Point guard Dylan Salazar has been playing varsity since he was a freshman. Hey, break down the bracket for us, Coach.
Obviously, ATC's kind of been number 1 for most of the year. They're tough. They played Navajo Prep real tough the other night. But we've seen them this summer. We watched games on them, compared some common opponents, and like I said, it's just you got to show up. You know what I mean? And then you look at some of the games in 2A in the state tournament. They're at 8 in the morning, and you never know what happens that early in the morning. So, but it's going to be fun. Texaco's coming on tough right now. Eunice is playing good ball. You got, Mesa Vista and Escalante and Santa Rosa, Rehoboth. So it's going to be fun.
In boys class 3A, 15 other teams will be seen red as the Robertson Cardinals reach number 1 status in the bracket. The Cardinals earned the top seed in this bracket. Robertson reached the final each of the last 2 years. They are 24-2 overall. Robertson is deep and versatile.
We've had 5 players score in double figures numerous times during the season. And I mean, sure, we've got a couple of guys that you can consider that are really, really great, but it's hard to you pick your poison. That's what I like about our team, is that everybody's also very versatile, and we have that killer mindset, that killer instinct and mindset defensively, that we're going to play as hard as we can for 32 minutes a game. And thus far, I mean, we've had success.
Let's look at this bracket, shall we? Robertson, you are playing Zuni this week. Tohatchee is the 8 seed and West Las Vegas the 9. The Bosque boys are 5 and will see Socorro the 12. Hot Springs earn the 4 spot and will take on Theroux. Santa Fe Indian School is the 3 and Newcomb the 14. Defending state champs St. Michael's is your 6 and will host New Mexico Military Institute. Santa Fe Prep is your 7 and will go up against Ruidoso. Navajo Prep is the 2 seed and will host Sandia Prep. Now, Navajo Prep senior Jude Thomas is one of the top scorers all time at that school. He's a 4-year varsity starter who also leads the state in assists. Xavier Nez hit the 1,000 point mark this season for Navajo Prep. They have high expectations this season.
I mean, there's no denying the talk of, where we finished the last 2 years, losing to St. Mike's and Robertson. They've both ended our last 2 seasons, and we've watched those teams either win state championships or play in the state championship back-to-back years. So this group of guys has played in a lot of big games. They've played in tough games, and getting to that point in the season last year and experiencing the pit and just that atmosphere and everything. There was a lot of talk this summer. That's what keeps you coming to the gym through the off season and through the fall and getting you closer to your season. And this year, the guys have remained extremely focused. I think they see that there's still work to be done, and we've got some big goals.
In boys class 4A, the Highland Hornets are the number 1 seed. Highland is 22-6 this year. They won it all in 2022 and reached the final in 2020.
This team reminds me a lot of our 2020 team. That year we were 11-10 going into district, and then we ended up winning 10 games in a row won our district tournament and advanced to the state championship that year in 2020. So this team is very similar. They have that kind of potential.
Let's take a look at the bracket. Highland will host Los Alamos. Grants gets in as an 8 and will see silver this week. St. Pius is the 5 and will take on Shiprock, the 12. The defending state champs from Academy will be the 4 seed, and they get Gallup. Hope Christian is the 3 and Espanola Valley the 14. Artesia comes into the postseason as a 6 and will take on Taos. Lovington is the 7 against Portales, the 10. And the Valley Vikings are the 2 seed going up against Bloomfield. Now, little explanation here. Gallup, Shiprock, and Bloomfield were tied in district. Shiprock won that 3-way tie. Shiprock also beat Gallup in criteria points, so Shiprock got in before Gallup. Los Alamos and Bloomfield were district tournament champs, so they get spots 15 and 16. Last but not least, boys class 5A. Now, I think pretty much everyone could pencil in this number 1, right? It's Volcano Vista. The Hawks. Volcano Vista is the 2-time defending state champ, 26-1 overall. They've won 16 straight. The only team to beat the Hawks this year is Cleveland. Head coach Greg Brown admits they are beatable. He appreciates that number 1 ranking, but knows it's just a number.
You know, we've had the experience of being a number 1 and a number 2 and a number 3 in the past. And, you know, like I said, it doesn't really matter to us. I mean, it's always fun to get a high seed, a good seed, and see who you play. But we've been through this before. We understand that it is just a number, and, you know, we've got to be ready to play on game day.
Are you ready for the final bracket? Here it is. Volcano Vista will host Capital. Santa Fe is the 8, West Mesa the 9, La Cueva is a 5 seed, and El Dorado the 12. Atrisco Heritage is your 4 and Farmington the 13. Cleveland is the 3 seed, and they will host last year's runner-up Sandia. Clovis is the 6 and Albuquerque High 11. Los Lunas is the 7 and will host 10 seed Alamogordo. Oregon Mountain is a 2 seed, and they will face Roswell in the opener. Now, there was a 3-way tie for the final spot in this bracket between Capital, Rio Rancho, and Hobbs. In that 3-way tie, Capital and Rio Rancho were exactly the same, with Hobbs being 3rd in that 3-way tie. And then when you compared Capital and Rio Rancho, Capital won that final spot in the bracket and will face top seed Volcano Vista. There you have it. All the brackets, all the teams compared with the criteria points as voted on by the member schools. Don't forget, you can watch the state championship games this fall on the NFHS network. So get a subscription and log on so you can watch the championship matchups. One more item before we say goodbye. It's time to give away the VIP prize pack. If you downloaded the NMAA 24/7 app, you were entered for a chance to win 2 passes to the tournament, 2 Lobo level tickets, a $250 gift card to Dick's Sporting Goods, a $100 gift card to Dion's, and a Wilson Evolution leather basketball. And that lucky person is Billy Joe Hoovener. Hope I pronounced that right. I know I got the Billy Joe right. Congratulations, Billy Joe. Check your email that you use to register for the app for instructions on picking up your prize pack. Billy Joe, congratulations. You won all of these items. And I will look for you in the first 5 rows from the pit floor. Congratulations once again. That's going to do it for the Seating and Selection Show for the 2024 Nusenda Credit Union State Basketball Championships. Good luck to all the teams involved. We will see you on the court, and remember to compete with class.